in debt can feel like you're stuck in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But don't panic, I'm here to help. In this video, I'm going to show you how to deal with debt and loans so that you can get your finances in order.
And in a year, maybe less, you'll be debt-free.
There are plenty of solutions that can help you get back on your feet. It might sound like a scary word, but trust me, it requires nothing more than dedication and discipline. Stay tuned and I'll show you what to do. Before you know it, you'll be debt-free and feeling pretty darn good about yourself. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Neera and I'm a financial analyst. I talk about personal finance and investments and teach you how to make money and grow it exponentially. If you're interested in this topic, consider subscribing, as this will help the channel grow and impact more people. Money may not be able to buy happiness, but the lack of it can certainly cause a lot of stress. This is especially true when it comes to debt. Having mounting bills and creditors calling can take a toll on your mental and physical health. Studies have shown that debt can lead to anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and even heart disease. And the more debt you have, the greater impact on your health. For instance, if you're worried about money, you may find it harder to stick to a budget or save for the future. And if you're constantly fretting about your finances, you may be more likely to make impulse purchases or eat out at restaurants. In short, stress over money can make it harder to manage your finances effectively. Taking small steps to reduce your financial stress can make a big difference in your overall well-being. Otherwise, the cost may be higher than you ever imagined. The good news is you're not alone. I will share with you practical steps you can take today to regain control and become debt-free. First and foremost, you need to understand that you will never be able to get out of debt until you stop making debt a way of life. Debt is like a bad habit. It's hard to break out of, and it can be really easy to slip back into. But just like quitting smoking or losing weight, getting out of debt requires a change in mindset. If you're used to spending money you don't have, it's going to take some effort to break that habit. But it's worth it. Once you're out of debt, you'll have more money each month to save and invest. You'll be able to sleep better at night knowing you're not one missed bill away from ruin. And you'll feel a sense of freedom that comes from being in control of your finances. So if you're serious about getting out of debt, the first step is to change your way of thinking about money. It's time to stop making debt a way of life and start making financial freedom your new reality. Once you face your issue and change your attitude towards money, it is time to break through the stigma of budgeting and get comfortable with it. Getting out of debt is a lot like dieting. You know what you need to do, but it's hard to stick to a plan. Just like you need to cut out junk foods and eat more veggies, you need to curb spending and make some sacrifices. But unlike dieting, getting out of debt doesn't have to be torture. In fact, it can be downright satisfying to see your balances decline month after month. You'll need to create a budget and stick to it as closely as possible, which is what matters for the long-term health of your wallet. But please do not pay for an app to do your budgeting. Remember, we're cutting expenses, not adding new ones, just to feel a sense of control. Excel spreadsheet will be perfect for this. You can find a lot of free templates for easier planning and use whichever one you feel more comfortable with. We have also created a debt tracker Excel sheet to help people like you get a grip of their budget and start slaying their debts. It won't be easy to follow through, but it is doable with visualizing all your debts, and when those numbers start going down instead of up, you will finally see your progress and stay motivated every step of the way. Click on the link in the description to download our free debt tracker Excel sheet and get started on your budget today. First, identify all your income sources and all your debts. Next, track your spending for a month so you know where your money is going. Most credit cards also have a spending report that you could use for reference. Then set a realistic limits for each category of expenses. Make sure to include room for occasional splurges. After all, deprivation is not sustainable in the long run. Once you have your budget in place, commit to following it as closely as possible. Automate your bill payments so you never miss a due date and put any extra money towards your debt. Finally, stay motivated by setting small financial goals and celebrating each time you reach one. Modestly, of course, without spending a dime. Now that you have your expenses under control and have a list of all your debts debts with all the details, there are two ways you can address them. You can either start from the smallest debt to biggest, or you can sort them by interest rate and pay off high interest debts first. In both cases, you target one debt at a time by making payments monthly and paying only the minimum on all other debts. Both have pros and cons, and it really depends on which strategy you feel more comfortable with. For instance, I would prefer focusing on high interest debts first. This way, you can quickly reduce the amount of interest you're paying, freeing up more money to put towards principal. In addition, paying high interest debts will help improve your credit score quicker, making it easier to get approved for loans in the future. With the other approach, you sort the debt by size from smallest to largest and start putting money towards the smallest first while paying the minimum on other debts. Repeat the process until all debts are clear. The main advantage is it is easier to pay off smaller debt, thus giving you a psychological boost to continue. Small progress is better motivator than trying to pay off a big debt, which could be exhausting in the short term. The main point here is consistency with your plan. And if starting with smaller debt will help you stay in the course, then you should ignore the high interest charges. Now that you have developed a solid plan that you will stick to, it is time to seek outside help from your creditors. You need to do this before a debt collector gets involved. This may seem like a daunting task, but remember that you're not alone. Millions of Americans struggle with debt, and many have found success by working with their creditors. Here are a few things to keep in mind as you begin this process. Reach out to your creditors and be prepared to explain your situation and why you need some flexibility in terms of repayment. Be honest and upfront about your financial difficulties and be clear about what you need from your creditor. Try to negotiate a payment plan that works for both of you. Creditors are often more open to making payment arrangements that work for both parties, so don't be afraid to ask for what you need. They may be more willing to work with you than you realize, but you need to show them that you are serious about paying off your debt. Share with them your plan and specific steps you're taking to close out the loan. This will reassure the creditor that you are taking the situation seriously and are on the right path, making them more willing to work with you. In addition, if you can reach an agreement, make sure to get it in writing so there is no misunderstanding down the road. Finally, be patient. The process of working with creditors can take some time, but if you persevere, you'll eventually find the relief you need. Now that you have more breathing room with better terms, make sure to find time to relax and feel proud how far you've come. But we're not done yet. To give your finances an extra boost, ask for a raise, but do it in a correct way. Although this might work in some cases depending on your relationship with your boss, do not burden them with your debt issues, or worse, make it your reasoning for a raise. At the end of the day, it is your problem, not your employer's. Have you paid attention when you're going through a hiring process? Employers check your credit report, and that's for a reason. They can't see your score, but what they do see is your piling debt and late payments. This could be a cause for concern and reason you wouldn't get the job. So if anything, your employer will probably not trust you with responsible tasks and limit your chances for raise and promotions. Instead, point out to the value you bring to the company and your achievements. This will increase your chances to get a raise and put all that difference towards your debt.
And as newly debt-free people feel safe to make purchases.
The hard part is over. We have created a plan to target the debt and ask for help to provide some breathing room and even got some additional cash to get out of debt quicker. The only thing that is left is to stay disciplined and keep up with your payments. One of the easiest ways to do this is to set up automatic payments for your bills and debts. This way, you'll never have to worry about forgetting a payment or being late on payment. As long as you follow these steps, you're on your way to financial freedom. Here are other tips and suggestions that'll help you. Number 1, consider selling any items you can live without. If you're like most people, your home is full of stuff you don't need, from clothes you never wear to that exercise equipment you never use, We all have items that take up space and could be put to better use. So why not declutter your life and make some extra cash at the same time? You can start by holding a garage sale or listing items on sites like eBay or Craigslist. And remember, the goal here is to get rid of stuff, so don't be afraid to let go of items for less than you paid for them. Every little bit helps when you're trying to tackle your debt. So go through your things and see what you can live without. Your wallet will thank you for it. Cash received from the sale should go directly towards your debt. Another advice I wanted to address is consolidating your loans. If you're struggling with debt, consolidating your loans is not the answer. Let's take a closer look. When you consolidate your debt, you're essentially just taking out another loan to pay off your existing loans. This might seem like a good idea at first, but it can actually lead to more problems down the road. For one thing, it gives you a false sense of control over your debt. You might think that by consolidating your debt, you're getting it under control. But the truth is, your habits haven't changed. You're still spending money that you can't afford to spend, and you're still not making payments on time. As a result, you're likely to end up in even more debt than you were in before. Not only that, but the interest payments on the consolidation loans can be very high. In some cases, they can be higher than the interest rate on your original loans. So not only are you not getting out of debt, but you're actually making things worse by taking out a consolidation loan. You're better off working on developing good financial habits and paying off your debts gradually. Sure, it might take longer to get out of debt this way, but in the long run, it's much better for your financial health and your peace of mind. Number 3, make sure you understand all the terms of any loan before signing anything. Loans can be a tricky business. On one hand, they offer a much-needed financial boost when you're facing tough times. But on the other hand, there can quickly become a burden if you're not careful. Before you sign on the dotted line, it's important to make sure you understand all the terms of the loan. Otherwise, you may find yourself paying back far more than you ever anticipated. The best way to avoid this trap is to ask lots of questions and read the fine print carefully. That way, you'll know exactly what you're getting into before you commit to anything. So next time you're considering taking out a loan, make sure you do your homework first. Otherwise, you could end up regretting it down the road. Number 4, I love using credit cards instead of cash because of all the perks. However, they can be a slippery slope if you're not careful. It is so easy to swipe and not think about the consequences until the bill arrives. And by then, it is too late. The damage has been done. So unless you're a responsible adult who can handle their finances, it is better to steer clear of credit cards altogether. If you absolutely must use one, try to keep the balances as low as possible. That way, if you find yourself in a sticky situation, you won't be buried in debt. Use your credit card wisely and always remember that it is not free money. Otherwise, you'll end up paying for it in the long run. Unless you're using a rewards credit card and paying off your balances in full each month, you're likely paying more for your purchases than you would if you were using cash. When you're in debt, it can be tempting to close your credit cards in an effort to avoid further spending. However, this is actually a counterproductive move that can end up hurting your credit score. Closing cards reduces the overall amount of credit available to you and increases your credit utilization ratio. 2 things that are detrimental to your score. Instead of closing your cards, focus on paying down your debt and keeping your balances low. This will help you get out of debt more quickly and improve your credit score in the long run. Instead, just hide it somewhere out of sight to avoid the temptations. With a little patience and perseverance, you can get out of debt and back on track financially. Now that you have all that cash, start investing it and make your money work for you. Check out my video on investing to help you get started. If you like this video, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on notifications to never miss out. Check out my other videos on the channel for other money-making ideas you don't want to miss out on. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.